Now today's class is going to be our final email marketing class, and we're going to learn quite a wide variety of different things in today's class because this is going to help us to wrap up all the training that we have done so far on email marketing. And you're also going to learn a couple of extra freebies, I guess you could say, towards the end of the class. Now, I have quite a lot of material to cover tonight. The guidebook for tonight's class is rather large, so I might be moving along things here a little quickly, but if you have any questions, please feel free to stop me, and there's always the guidebook that you can check out, which is pretty detailed on everything that I'll be covering today. Now, with that said, I am going to go ahead and get started, and the first thing that I'm going to be doing tonight is going into my WordPress site to create my delivery page. Now, the delivery page is the page that we are going to be sending people to after they sign up through our custom sign-up form that we created in the last class. Now, the way I have been teaching to create this page with fairly minimal effort is to use some type of deals page that you can entice the people to sign up on your list with. Obviously, you could do plenty of other things. You know, you've heard the normal giveaway a free ebook and training courses and things of that nature. So I wanted to make sure to try to cover something different and also something that would offer you the potential to do this without having to really kill yourself. You know, you don't want to have to go out and write an ebook just to find out if you can actually get people to sign up on a newsletter list for your niche. So this is a really simple and easy way to give that a bit of a try run. So what I'm going to be doing is using my plugin product style, and we are going to create some advertisements with this, and these ads will be our deal ads. And then all of these ads are going to go into a page on our site. So to begin, I'm going to go to the Auto Amazon page in my plugin. And all I really need to do to start out with is search for something relational. So I could search for carbon fiber or carbon fiber vinyl, as long as it's going to pull up products that I know could potentially be these deal products that I want to promote on my site. So after you perform a search here, scroll down and look at the different listings that are available. Now, the ones that you are choosing here are really not going to be that big of a deal. You don't have to spend a ton of time on this particular step. What you do want to do, though, is find one single product that you can start out with that is a relevant product and simply click on it. This will open up the ad creation window. And before you do anything else, scroll down here and make sure you have a list price and a sale price available. Now, the Amazon API system is not perfect. There are some products out there that will show one list and one sale price on the website, but through the API system, it may not pull the correct prices. Regardless, we're not going to have to pay too much attention to that at this current point in time. We'll get to that a little bit later on, where we can basically just weed out some of these product ads. So as long as you have a list and a sale price available here, we can proceed with using this product to begin this ad creation process. So to start with, I want to click on New Category right here and create a category on my site that is just going to be for these particular products. Now, I'm going to call this Vinyl Deals, just so it is something that I can remember at a later point in time, and I actually already have a carbon fiber deals category on this website, so I obviously do not want to use the same name. So once I have my category created, I want to go down the page to the product information selection, and this is where the list price and the sale price are going to be important to have. I want to check on each of these two and then proceed all the way down the page to the ad creation options. Now here, I want to change my style to ad only. I want to change my image size to medium. The other changes that I want to make here are down at the bottom. I could leave this particular title the same, or I could try to shorten it. But the thing to remember is that if you shorten one of them, you might have to go back in and manually create ads for the rest of the products that you're going to have on the deals page and also shorten the titles for those. Ultimately, you want an advertisement that is going to have a similar height to the other ads that you're going to create, because you're going to put a bunch of them on one single page and they're going to all be sitting right next to each other, and it simply looks better when they are using a similar height. For now, I can just go ahead and leave this as it is, and we will see how things end up after I create all of these ads. So the main change that I want to make down at the bottom is the Show Special button. I want to show a Buy Now button because I'm trying to get people to go and purchase these products. When I'm completely finished, I can preview my ad if I want, so I can see what this is going to look like on my live website. And when I am ready, I can create the product ad. Now once I have created that one ad, I want to go back down to the bottom here and try to pick out some other products that also seem to match what I am looking for. Now, I'm generally looking to find somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 15 products or so here. And I can go back in later on, once again, and remove some of them. So I have 5 products selected here on this first page. So I'm going to go down to the bottom. I want to make sure my category is selected, Final Deals, and then click on the Quick Add button. Doing this is going to create advertisements for me for all of those products that I had a check mark beside. And it's going to do it in a manner just like I did the first one. It's going to use the list price and the sale price, and it's going to set all those different ad creation options that I customized. Now, I have a total of 6 products picked out here, so I do want to find a couple more. I'm curious to see what the best-selling products are that also have this keyword in it. So I'm going to select a category which gives me sorting options, and then I can click on Best Selling right here. This should give me a slightly different set of results here, and a lot of these should be some of the best-selling products that are available on Amazon. Now, I know I already selected these first couple up top, and I got these. I do not have these though. These products here are all accessory products for carbon fiber. This is a tape primer and different hand tools that you can use to help you apply and remove the air bubbles from the vinyl. Peter, the Buy Now button uses a 24-hour cookie. However, if you are using a plugin like Extendazon, it will convert those Buy Now buttons into the 90-day cookie. Yes, that's right. I'll be setting up the deals page as an actual page and not a post. So on this page here, I have 4 more products selected right now. I'm going to go ahead and add those in. And then I could even continue on to the second page and look for 2 more products that I need now to select. I will take this one, and I will take this 3M Dynoc down here. Okay, so now I have a total of 12 products that I have selected, and I have created ads with all 12 of these products. Now I can go and create the actual page. So I'm going to go to Pages and Add New. And then I will title this particular page based on whatever it is that I set in the newsletter settings. I had a deals thank you page that I had specified on my website, and I told you at that point in time in the previous class that that particular page did not exist. Well, this is when I go and create that page, because this is the delivery page for my newsletter. So I will title this Deals Thank You. Now, depending on what you title your page and depending on what you wanted your link to be, you may need to go back in and edit it to set it as Deals Thank You, for example. Now, I've actually already created this page to put the guidebook together for you guys, so I'm not going to call mine Deals Thank You this time around. I will simply leave it as Deals. However, the Deals Thank You page does now currently exist on this website. Make sure whatever you put in for your newsletter settings, make sure that's the same page that you are creating on your own website. So now what we want to do is insert these advertisements that we just created. So we want to look for the product style button up at the top of the page and click on it. And then we want to click on Saved Ads. Now we can filter the ads that are going to show up in this drop-down box right here with this category filter. So by selecting Vinyl Deals, all of my advertisements that I just created are the ones that are showing up in this list. So these are the 12 ads that I just created. So I'm going to select the first one in the list and click on Insert Ad. Now you could go back through this same process as many more times as necessary to add in all of those advertisements, but something else that you can do is simply copy one of these shortcodes. Now, when you go through and create ads in the same manner that I just did, each of the ID numbers of those ads will be one after the next. If you look in this drop-down box right here, you will see the ID numbers, starting with number 20 and counting all the way up to number 31 are the ads that I have created to use here. So what I can do is simply paste in the existing shortcode from the first time and just go through and modify it. Just change the number, increment it one time with each new ad, and this is a lot faster once you know what your ID numbers are that you need to target here and how many ads to put in and what number to stop on. So I now have ads 20 through 31. Now, I have put these 3 on a line for a particular reason, but it really will not make a difference. They could all be in one long string like this, but I want to put them 3 on a line because that's how they're going to end up getting displayed on my live website, and it'll make the next steps a little easier to understand. So at this point, I can go ahead and take a look at my page, but I need to set a couple of additional settings here. I want to scroll down to the SEO settings, and in the miscellaneous tab, I want to set these to no index and no follow. Up above here in the Weaver 2 options, I simply want to hide the page title. Now once I have done this, I can publish my page. But make sure you're not publishing this to Facebook because you want people to sign up on your newsletter to be able to reach this page. So I'm going to publish it now, and then I can go to see what this is going to look like on my live website. So I will open up that page here in another window. Now, up at the top, these first 3 ads, they are still all on the same line, but if you notice, one of them is significantly longer than the other 2. This will end up causing problems with the remaining ads. They will not all correctly line up 3 to a row like they're supposed to, like they're doing down here. You end up with problems like this. Well, it may look a little complicated, but it's actually pretty easy to resolve this issue. Before you start trying to resolve the issue, though, what I would first recommend to do is take a look at the products that are on the page. Look at the list price and the sale price for each product. Make sure the list price is higher than the sale price, because there are products here, this one right here, for example, where the list price is showing up as lower than the sale price. Here again, we have another one. So for any products that do not look correct, or even if there is no list price at all, what you want to do is simply click on the ad, go to Amazon, and take a look at the product. Look at the price and the sale price right here. See if this is different from what is getting printed out from the API system. If it is, there's something that you can do about it to correct it if you would like to keep that particular product on the page. So for this product, I could correct it. There are prices available. I can continue on and look at the remaining products here to find out whether these products are products that I could keep or not. Now this particular product, there is a price and a sale price, but the difference is really not that major. It's only $1. So this particular product is one that would be easy to simply toss out of the mix. Now I'm going to continue on and look at a few more of these. A lot of these will show up correctly for you, like these products. But again, make sure you are double checking the ones that are not showing up. This one here does not have a very big price difference either, so I would likely remove that one as well. And then down here at the bottom, this primer pen shows a list price that is lower than the sale price. But on this particular product, there actually is not a list price. So this again will be another product that I want to toss out. So I have found 3 now that I don't like. The primer pen, this vinyl sheets, and the Sim Carbon 3D vinyl. So I want to remove these products from my list here. Now, I need to point out one other thing real quick. Go and look at a product page on your site. If you're using the ads just like I have taught them to be used, your ad will likely be sitting on the right-hand side of the page here. That means that you actually went in and edited the ad-only style for the advertisements and actually changed it to be on the right-hand side of the page instead of the left. By default, if you just install product style, this ad would show up on the left-hand side of the page, but I edited that one particular setting for this site. So go and look on one of your product pages. If you're using the ad-only style and it looks like this, just simply observe which side of the page it is on. This is going to make a big difference when you start trying to weed out products from here that you don't want to keep. Because while you're looking at it and you might think this is the first product listed here, it's actually backwards because everything is floating to the right. This is the first product, and this is the second, and this is the third. However, that will not be the case if your product pages have the ads floating on the left. So with that said, I'm going to go through this list here and count off my ads from right to left going down the page. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. Number 6 is the SIM carbon one. That is the first one that I wanted to get rid of. So now I'm going to go back here and count off again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 25 should be the correct ad. Now if you have to update, make sure you uncheck publish to Facebook again, or else it will go through and publish that page. So you can see now that the SIM carbon ad has disappeared. So I did count off correctly. Now to continue counting here, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 9 and 10 are products that I wanted to get rid of. And then I believe this was the other one. No, that's not it. I'll go ahead and wipe out these. So number 9 and number 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I will clear these two out. For these products, Peter, if you decide to keep them and go through and adjust the price manually, Amazon will not wipe out those prices on your own site. Just with the way the plugin works as far as that's concerned. I do have some additional things that I would like to do with pricing in the plugin for the next update that I'm working on. That could be the what's going on, Linda, with Amazon having different sellers. Sometimes on the Amazon website, let's see, this particular product here. This is being sold by SIM Carbon, but then there's also a buying choice here from, looks like a Japanese company or something. I'm not going to even try to pronounce that. Sometimes the incorrect information is because Amazon will sometimes swap out the chosen product and the chosen buyer that will be going through. And other times it just seems like the API information coming from Amazon just isn't correct. I've unfortunately been able to find a lot of different discrepancies and problems and stuff, and unfortunately the correct prices are nowhere to be found in the API for some of these particular products. But sometimes it is picking it up from another seller and other times it isn't. No, when I was counting, I mean, ultimately you could just go through and count off all the ads and figure out which particular numbers, are the different products that you wanted to wipe out. I guess I only did have 3, so there wasn't an additional product here that I was trying to clear. I believe I updated that page already, but just to be sure, I'll give it one last update here. And I should be good to go now in terms of having 9 products remaining. Okay, yes, I do have 9 products now. So now the issue is all of my alignment. Yes, I still have some corrections to go through and make, which I'll be covering here in just a moment. Alice, some of the Amazon product descriptions are okay to copy if you are using it directly along with an ad here. But the key thing to remember is that you don't want a site that is just completely the information coming from Amazon. Amazon is definitely starting to look down upon that type of thing. So if you are using things like the descriptions from Amazon to go along with your products, then just make sure you also have other content to go along with it. Not necessarily on every single individual page. Like on this particular page, a lot of it is going to be ad-based, but I obviously have tons of content on this site that has nothing to do with advertising too. So that's really the key difference. They just want to make sure that you're not just copying their site and hoping to earn commissions from it, basically. Yes, Peter, just make sure that if you do go through and adjust prices on any of this stuff, since you are presenting it as a deals page, just try to go back maybe even once a week or something and just make sure that your prices are all still in sync. Yeah, I mean, it's not that you really can't use those plugins that only brings in the ad and the ad content, but if you are using something like that, it needs to be one that gives you the chance to go back in and customize it in some way, because you need to be able to add to the content so that it is not just what is coming from Amazon. So now if we have an ad like this Tarot Works one, obviously this one has a lot of text and it's a little bit hard to read. So this would be a good candidate for an ad to go in and edit. Not only that, I definitely have to edit it for the price. However, these things are done in 2 different locations. So first, I'm going to go in and edit the actual text. I'm going to go to Product Style and Ads. I'll open this up in a new window so I can keep my deals page over there because I will be coming back to that. Now once again, there is a category filter here if you have a lot of ads and you need to narrow down the results that are shown to you here. So all I have to do is find the ad I'm looking for. This is the Tarot Works one, and simply edit it. Now, the link anchor text and Also, the header title text, I recommend going ahead and editing both of these. Just change them to the same thing, whatever it is that you decide to target. So I'm going to call this 4D carbon fiber vinyl stickers. And I'll put a little bit of this extra information on with it, like the sizes. And we will see how this looks now. So obviously I have substantially shortened this particular product's text. So all I have to do now is save my ad. I'm going to look for this product, TerraWorks, and look for the prices, $23.55 and $14.89. So now I need to go to the products page. I look for my category, I expand the category, I look for my product, and I click on it. And then all I have to do is edit my prices. $23.55 and $14.89. So now I can save this here and return to my deals page and see what this particular product looks like now. So immediately, now that I have shortened this to where it's not sticking out, it's not causing this problem anymore where it's messing up the alignment of the page. I just have one more ad that's actually doing that. However, there are some additional things that you may be able to do to get all of your ads to actually have the same height or a really, really similar height. For example, you have some ads that are shorter than others. Not because there's more or less text necessarily, but you have some images that are larger. For example, this image here is slightly taller than this product image. So things like that can sometimes cause a little bit of a height discrepancy that unfortunately cannot be fixed by removing text. However, a lot of the problems can be fixed by simply rearranging things and editing a little bit of text here and there where needed. So now I have Black Metro 3D. This product is $14.99 and it is on sale for $2.99. My other problem here is the 3D black carbon fiber. This one is $20 and it's on sale for $4.79. Now this is a good example. This product does not have a list price, but I happen to know that this $20 is actually the list price. However, I'm not finished by just having the dollar amount for the list price. I need HTML tags around this. This is the strike through tag. So there's actually a line through it, as you can see here on my deals page. So for this product, let's see, what was the $4.79, the sale price? So by just going through and making these few minor adjustments, you can really clean up this page and make it look a lot better. And this will make a big difference when it comes to trying to convert these sales. I've used a page very, very similar to this on Down Comforter Guide. Where I have 2 rows of advertisements for different down comforters. And I've been tracking things. This page specifically has actually referred some sales for me on some of these higher priced down comforters too. Some that are up in the couple $100 neighborhood. So as long as you can take the time to arrange these advertisements to look right on your site, then this can actually be a strategy that can work pretty good. So I'm going to refresh my page one more time here. Now my really only remaining problem is the height of this one particular product. And again, I could just simply try to rearrange some things here. For example, this product and this product are both pretty long. I could try to put them both on the same row and put the shorter products together. Or again, I could go in and try to edit the text on this one and this one to remove some of it. Just looking at things, if you look at the height difference here, this is about one text line worth of a height difference, and this is about 2. So if it looks like it is something where you could potentially just remove a line of text, that may be the easier way to go. So I'll do this one, 3M Scotch print. All I need to do here is remove one line of text. So I'll wipe out flex wrap just as a descriptive phrase there. And then I will save that product. And then the other one I wanted to edit was the 3D black carbon fiber vinyl. This one I want to remove 2 lines on. So I'm going to try to just wipe out this whole outdoor rated sentence there and save my changes. And once again, I will do a refresh. Now those lined up correctly. I'm pretty good there, but I still have a little bit of a problem right here and down here, and obviously with this line. Now, some of these problems are not as big as they may seem, and they can be corrected with another tactic. I like to put 3 of these shortcodes per line, just simply because it makes it a little bit easier to understand. The reason why things do not line up correctly when they are a different height is because everything is being set to float together. It is a CSS term, and this allows things to wrap around the page depending on how much width is available. That way you don't have to keep changing the code for every different site depending on the width. Well, the only problem is that when you have heights that don't match up for different containers like that, you end up with this type of an issue. Well, you can also go in and add these tags after each of the rows of advertisements. This is simply a div tag with style equals clear both in the middle. After I update the page here, from just adding in these different tags, even though I haven't changed any other text on this particular page, everything will then show up 3 ads to a row correctly. Now, as you can see, the only height difference I really have here is with these 3 products. I could go in and remove some of the text from this one and potentially a line from this one. If I take off 1 line from here and 2 lines from here, I'd end up with all 3 of these pretty level as well. But you should be able to at least understand the concept of this whole thing here. And I can also show you my other page that I have put together, where I have ads, and I have pretty much got them all leveled out in terms of their height. So now the last thing left to do is to add some of this extra text here. What I'm looking to do is first add in text at the top, and I want to select it and make it bold. The next thing I want to do, if you go and look at this page, you may notice there's a decent amount of space here on the left, but not a lot on the right. That is because all of these ads are trying to float to the right-hand side of the page. So what we want to do is to create a little bit of a margin here in between the ad and the sidebar to push all of these ads over to the left just a little. So to accomplish this, I'm going to add div style equals margin right 30 pixels. And then I close this off all the way at the end here. Now, you remember me mentioning your product pages and whether they float to the left or the right. If your ads float to the left, change this word right here to left. So whichever side your ads are floating on, that is the side that you should have the margin. So my ads float to the right, so I'm going to be using a right margin here. So now with this one update, you'll see all my ads shift over and they look a lot more centered in my page content now. And I have a little bit of text up at the top to introduce people to this page. Now, I like to put a brief amount of information here, but to kind of try to pre-sell the page. You want people to be going through and purchasing things here. So I make it clear that they are buying off of Amazon. And I might even throw in something extra like, they offer fast and affordable shipping, not to mention that these are some of the best prices. Yeah, if they are floating to the left, Peter, they're going to end up being too far to the left. They'll be almost all the way up against. There will be a tiny border here, but you'll have a big stretch of white on the right-hand side instead. So by simply adding in a 30 pixel margin on the left of the ads, then it should bring it back over and give you the same look that I have here. So now that we have this delivery page done, our whole list is basically set up, but there's still one last piece that we have to connect to make all of this automated essentially. I'm going to go ahead and shut down some of these pages here so I don't have so many, and then I'm going to jump into the newsletter service. Now I'm going to be showing you guys two different kinds of emails that you create with a newsletter service today. The first one is an autoresponder, and the second one is a broadcast. Since I have done tutorials on both Aweber and GetResponse, I'm going to show you tutorials on both of these sites today. But to avoid some repetition, because the systems are pretty much similar, I am just going to create one email on Aweber, and I will go through and create another email on GetResponse. So I'll do the autoresponder here on Aweber, and then I will do the actual broadcast mail on GetResponse. Now, up here, you go to Messages and Follow-up Series. These are going to be your autoresponders. And then we have the broadcast down below, since I will not actually be using this site for that. Now simply click on this button over here to get started. But if you hover over this drop-down arrow, you'll notice they have a number of different options you could use. If you just click on the button, you're going to end up using this drag and drop email builder. Now, I'm personally not a very big fan of this and have still not been able to bring myself to use it on a regular basis. Maybe it's because I've been using Aweber since before that system even existed, or I don't know. I've heard it from a lot of other people, so I don't necessarily think it's just me, but I'm really not a fan of that system. But they still let you use the old one, previous message editor down here at the bottom. You can click on this to access that system. And it's actually pretty simple to use. All you have is a subject at the top, an HTML message here, and then a plain text message. Now, just to avoid some repetition here and to speed through a little bit of this, I'm going to go ahead and open this particular email that I had already created. Your subject of this email is pretty important. You just don't want to use something horribly generic like, welcome to the Carbon Fanatic newsletter. You want to still make reference to whatever that freebie is that you offered the person to get them to join your list. So I'm going to say, welcome, get your carbon fiber deals here. This should click in people's brains and be like, oh yeah, I requested those carbon fiber deals. I'm going to go check this out now. While it still will not make sure that everybody opens your email, when you do something really relational like that, instead of just using generic subjects, you will get a lot more people that open your emails. And ultimately, if you're trying to drive people to a page that is linked in that email, then the number of people that open your mail can have a significant effect on how much you actually make. Now, I have this email that I've put together. I've provided this for you guys in the guidebook, so you are more than welcome to essentially copy this mail and obviously adjust it for your own needs, because you won't want to be talking about carbon fiber. The main things I want to point out, though, if you just have this text right here, let's say you are copying all of this out of the guidebook, and then you're simply pasting it in to the site. What's going to happen is that your links are not automatically going to be links, as you can see. What you have to do instead is turn any URLs you have in the HTML message part into an actual link. To do this, you select your URL, you click on the little globe with the link below it right here, and this will allow you to insert a link. Just go down to this URL box and paste that link in. Now, notice here how when I copied, I ended up with an extra space on the end. You want to make sure that that is not there, because it can end up causing you problems. Just delete that space off the end of the URL when you are entering it into the box. Now that I have done that, this is a clickable link. So I need to repeat the same process for the link that I have down below. Fairly simple. Now, make sure you add a couple of blank lines to the bottom of your email. At the bottom of your email, both Aweber and GetResponse will automatically put your address information, which is required, and also your unsubscribe link. But some people will open up newsletter mails and just start clicking links. Well, you want to put a little bit of space separation in between your mail and that unsubscribe information. Now, you've probably seen some people send out marketing emails and they'll put like 20, 30, 40, 50 spaces in between their email and all that unsubscribe stuff, trying to trick people. That's not what I'm telling you to do here. When I see mails like that, I purposefully unsubscribe from them. I'm just saying to create a little bit of a mental barrier here. So they're going through your mail and they don't start to interpret the rest of it as part of your newsletter. So have a couple of extra spaces and then select everything that you have in this email. Now, you need to copy this, but you need to use the keyboard shortcuts. On a PC, this will be Control-C. On a Mac, I believe it's Apple C. You cannot use this right-click and copy and paste menu that they have available here. I've never quite figured out what it's for, but it really just does not seem to work correctly. It may only be designed to work within this one particular window. But for the purpose that I need to copy all this for, it simply will not work. So select it all, press Control-C, and then come down to the bottom here to the plain text message. Oh, Command-C. Oh, they don't use Apple C anymore. I guess when they switched from Apple to Mac, they stopped doing that, huh, Linda? I remember I used to use an Apple at my mom's house growing up, and I believe it was Apple C back then. Good to know, though, that it's Command-C for copy and then Command-V for paste. Thank you, Linda, for anybody that is on a Mac. So go down here to your plain text message and then paste in everything that you have written up above. Now, you don't have clickable links down here. That's quite okay. You don't have to worry about this. What you do need to worry about, though, is look over here at this little blue zone. Whenever you have text stretching into this blue zone, you need to click on Wrap Long Lines, and this will wrap that text around so you do not have not necessarily any text in the blue zone, but you will not have a lot of text. See, sometimes they will wrap it around like this just to keep it from taking up a third line, for example. That is quite okay. You just don't want these really, really long lines, because when people are viewing them as text emails, they might actually have to scroll really far to the right off of the page to be able to read really long sentences or paragraphs that you'll have contained in your email. So wrapping the lines prevents that problem. Now notice I still have a few blank lines down at the bottom of this mail too. That is also important, just like I was talking about to do up above. So at this point, with our subject and our HTML message and our plain text message, we are essentially done. But there are a couple of other settings here that I wanted to at least mention really quickly before I proceed. It really wouldn't make that big of a difference here, Peter. He's asking if keeping it to 2 lines is better than 3 for like this sentence. You know, if you wrapped all of that around manually, you know, if you, let's say you didn't want anything at all to stretch into the blue zone. If you were, you know, using really restrictive rules like that, it might look something like this. And it's not that it's really a major difference or whatever, but I just stick with the way that they automatically wrap it for me. It usually ends up looking better than trying to force it to stay within that particular width. You just want to make sure, basically, if it's stretching past where you can see the edge over here, that's definitely too far. Not not really, John. Unfortunately, he's asking if I have any suggestions on how to improve inboxing for broadcast emails sent to Yahoo email addresses, and in light of their actions not delivering those mails. Well, the thing is, your free email services, Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, AOL, seem to be the bigger ones, at least these days, that I notice a lot of people use. You're always going to encounter problems with getting all of your mails delivered to those people. One of the things that you could try to do, if you believe that you are in more of a business to business type of community where you are going to be getting leads from other people that might have a website, you can at least suggest for them to not use free email addresses when you are getting people to sign up. But there are still quite a few people that use them. Those companies are trying to clean up their inboxes, obviously, because of people that are spamming. But unfortunately, there's really not a lot that you can do. Sometimes you can have them add your newsletter email address to their whitelist or their address book contact list, depending on what service they are using. And that will sometimes help to make sure that your mails get through to them. You can always put that on a thank you page or even put it in one of your welcome emails, but again, they would have to actually receive that email to see it. So sometimes the delivery page is a good place to put a little note if you would like to do so. If you start to experience problems with deliverability and a lot of people using free addresses, that is something you can try to do. But personally, I don't worry about it too horribly much. The people that really want to see your emails will usually go and do stuff like that on their own and make sure they actually see your mails. Now down at the bottom, this attach a file button. You could offer a free ebook report to people that are signing up on your list and try to attach it to your welcome email here. However, I would advise against doing that. This is typically looked at as being something that spammers would do, trying to send a virus attached to an email. So it will not always get you flagged as spam, but some of your mails will get lost doing particular things like attaching files to your mails and also tracking clicks on your mails. I have found seems to reduce deliverability. What this does when you click to have this tracked, all of your links, in your HTML email, you show the actual address of the page, but the destination of that, what you have entered in here, Aweber will modify this and turn this into an Aweber link that redirects people to whatever page you have entered. But in the process of that redirection, it tracks the click on that link. Well, it can be helpful for sending out follow-up newsletter mails and people that clicked but they didn't buy, you can try to follow up with them, or people that didn't click, you can follow up with them and try to get them to click. It's really good in theory, but a lot of the email providers will look at this link and then they'll look at the destination of that link, what the actual what's showing up in this box here. And if they don't match, it is sometimes viewed as like a phishing attempt. You've probably gotten an email from like Bank of America and it says bankofamerica.com login or something, and go log into your account, there's some security problem or whatever. But then if you actually click on that, it doesn't take you to Bank of America. It's taking you to a completely different website. So the same concept there sometimes gets mistaken when you are tracking clicks in newsletter mails. So personally, I will avoid this particular feature. So now we can save our message when we are all done. And as long as you have your custom sign-up form created with this autoresponder in place now and your deals thank you page set up so you can deliver what you are offering people, that is the entire automation process of getting your newsletter set up. So you could then proceed on and start building leads. However, before we go on and start talking about some of that stuff, I'm going to jump over to GetResponse and talk about broadcast emails, since we have just created an email here on Aweber, so you can see how this works over on GetResponse. Thank you, Linda. I'll have to look at that in just a minute. That's a lot to read. So going over here to GetResponse now, if you go up to Messages, we have Create Newsletter. These are the broadcasts, and then we have Create Autoresponder for the autoresponder mails. So I want to be creating a newsletter this time around, so I will be using the Create Newsletter option. Now, just like Aweber, GetResponse also has an older system and a newer system. I personally do not mind the newer system on GetResponse. The previous version of the editor you'll find is pretty similar to what I was just demonstrating on Aweber. But I will be using the new email creator here to show you what I prefer and also to give you as much variety as I possibly can in this training. So I'm just going to click on New Email Creator here to get started, and then I have a few different pieces of information that I need to provide. First off here, I have a message name. This particular setting here is not something that your subscribers are ever going to see. This is for your own reference, so when you go and take a look at the list of newsletters that you've sent out on GetResponse, so you can identify it. So I'm going to call this one 3M White Carbon Fiber. You have to think about the purposes of why you will use these different types of mails. The autoresponder mail that I just set up, that's good for the whole automation side of it, where you get somebody to sign up for a list and you've offered them a freebie, and you don't want to have to be personally sending out these freebies to all of your new subscribers as they come in. You want them to automatically have that delivered. So that is what your autoresponder is for. Sometimes it will just be one single email being sent out, or it could be a series of emails sent out, one every day or one every couple of days or something, if you wanted to try to give them some type of a tutorial course, for example. Well, the newsletter mails are essentially the opposite of that. These are not for your automated setups like that. These are for your day-to-day promotions that you want to make to your list. Times when you might want to use this would be for things like you create a new product post on your site and you want to let your newsletter know about it. So you go and write up an email and you promote that particular page on your site. So then people go to that page, they'll read your article, and they might proceed on and buy that product from Amazon. You don't ever want to include an Amazon affiliate link in a newsletter email. This is specifically against Amazon's terms of service. But you can put those ads on your own website and send your email marketing to your own site instead. Now, another potential use for these newsletter mails would be creating some more up-to-date deals pages as you go along. Once every month or once every quarter or something, you could update your list with a new fresh deals page perhaps. You can also go through at Thanksgiving time, for example, when they're doing all the holiday sales on Amazon and they have tons of lightning deals going on. You find something that's relevant to your niche and to your website, and then promote that in a newsletter mail. Those lightning deals, which come and go pretty quickly, the only way you can really reasonably refer sales on that stuff is if you have instant access to your customers and your readers. And so the newsletter mails are one potential way that you can accomplish that. Yes, you can have the same message name for numerous emails. I don't believe GetResponse will prevent you from doing that. It would just make it a little confusing for you if you ever went back through and were looking at a list of those emails that you sent out. So that's really the only reason to assign some kind of a message name that you would remember. So for this particular example, I am going to promote the most recent product page I created on this site for this white carbon fiber vinyl. So I can just copy the URL here, and this would be the URL that I would put into my newsletter email. So for the subject, I want to be very specific yet again. If I'm talking about the deals that people have obviously signed up to the newsletter for because they're interested in that type of thing, and I'm talking about a specific product too in the subject, the people that open my email would be really interested in what I am promoting here. Now, it might not necessarily get as many people as possible to open my email. I could be really vague about my subject here and get more people to open it, but less of those people might actually be interested in it. Well, I've done tons and tons and tons of testing over the years on newsletter mails and subjects and, just what works best and everything. A lot of times the more direct approach is the better approach. You start with your subject and you are already essentially pre-selling the person. How many people will open this email, get a great deal on 3M white carbon fiber vinyl, without the expectation ahead of time that they might be trying to get me to buy something? So the people that actually do open that mail are pretty likely to go through and actually purchase something through you. Whereas if you're vague about it and then start trying to sell things to people, you end up just turning a lot of people off and they run away. So you have a few other settings here. For the most part, I do not usually use the remaining settings. I often have the from set correctly how I want it to, but if you're doing these different Amazon sites, you might want to set it up so the from address actually comes from your email address instead for this website. Now for this tutorial, I won't worry about this for the time being until I actually get all this set up and active on my own site. Down below we have click-through for tracking. This is just like I was talking about on Aweber, where they will modify the destination of your link and point it to a redirect link, basically, so they can track those clicks. This is also something that I avoid on GetResponse because it's not a problem with the email services, it's simply a problem with the way those redirect links are interpreted by some of the email companies out there. Now, I had previously mentioned about publishing to Twitter and Facebook in the last class, so I don't need to cover that here. You have split testing features down at the bottom. For the most part, when you're first getting started and you have a smaller list, there's probably not much point in using this feature. This is really more useful for when you get up into the hundreds or even the thousands of people. I often send mails out to thousands of people at a time, and there's plenty of them that I still don't split test. Ultimately, it needs to kind of be worth your time to be creating two different versions with slight variations to figure out which one's going to convert better. Because if you only have, 50 people on your newsletter or something, it's just not going to make that big of a difference. No, this is something that you could do if you wanted to know how many people were viewing, opening your emails and potentially being able to track some of your links that get clicked. You could use Google Analytics for that. I typically do not use this though, but it is an option. I won't say not to use Google Analytics. If you do use Google Analytics a lot and you would like to try to find out some kind of information about your emails, definitely try Google Analytics and not the click-through tracking here, because this doesn't really do the same thing. Now, ultimately, even if you have both of these turned on, you're not going to be tracking everything. It really only picks up the HTML emails. When people are viewing plain text emails, you really can't track that type of stuff. The only way you could maybe track that is by the actual click-throughs, but you can't figure out who's opening plain text emails. So ultimately, these systems are a little bit flawed. They're never going to tell you 100% of what's really going on. Another reason why I often just don't take the time to use them, because they're not really giving me the full picture. So once you have your settings set up here, just click on Next Step to proceed and actually get started with creating your email. Now, they have tons of templates here. If you wanted to try to make some kind of fancy looking newsletter email, you can do that with this system, and it's not too horribly complicated. You just go in and edit the different pieces of text to make it relevant for what you're doing. However, I still typically stick with plain text emails for what I'm doing here, but I still use the template system, essentially. This is just like setting up an HTML message and a plain text message like I was doing on Aweber. This allows for some of your email opens to get tracked. Even though I don't use any tracking at all, Aweber and GetResponse will still tell me who is opening my emails, but it's only tracking the HTML messages. It's, again, not able to track opens on the plain text messages. So even though it might tell you that only 20% of people are opening your mails, in fact, that percentage could actually be larger than that. True, Peter. If you do tracking and stuff, you also not only need to worry about that, but you have to actually take the time to review all the stats and do something about it, or else ultimately there's not a lot of point in tracking it all. So what I like to do here, instead of using a pre-designed template, I just click Start from Scratch, and then I click on Blank Template. Now this allows me to set it up however I want to. I get a kick out of this little guy. I'm not quite sure who he is supposed to be, if that is the GetResponse mascot. I've never seen him running around at a marketing conference before, but that would be kind of funny. All you have to do, though, is take one of these blocks over here and drag it on top of this guy, and it changes. So I use the text block since I'm not trying to do anything special. And then I back up the text all the way up here to just underneath this header. This allows me to start typing in text here, and it doesn't end up being a large bold text like I have up here. So then I just simply remove the top line after that. And this leaves me with the correct formatting, so I don't end up having to go down here and rearrange and make things not bold or underline or whatever anymore. Because if you just wipe out that whole paragraph and start typing, you'll be using large bold text instead. So you want to do the same concept here with this email that you are doing with your welcome email, except obviously this is something that you would not be sending out automated. You'd be sending it out on demand, basically, and it'll be going to everybody on your list all at the same time instead of in a sequence after each person is signed up. So this allows you to drive a lot of traffic all at one time. So what I do here is, actually I think I have a copy of this I've provided for you guys that you can use and modify for your own purposes. And just to save a little bit of time here tonight, since I have a decent amount to cover still, I will just simply paste this in. So what I am doing here in this mail is trying to promote a new post that I have created on my site. I say a new carbon fiber deal is now available for white vinyl from 3M. This high quality vinyl wrap is 33% off, so I'm mentioning what the deal and the discount is ahead of time. And I also say that is a pretty good discount considering 3M makes some of the better products in the industry. Their discounts are not usually pretty steep. So then read more and get this deal here. So then I reference that page from my website here for this product. So people would then click on the link and end up on this page and be able to see the deal and go and buy that particular product. So once you're typing out your email here, this still works pretty much just like it did on Aweber. Your URLs need to be changed into clickable links. You click on the little link icon right here and simply paste your URL into the URL box. And I will do the same thing here for my next URL. And once again, add a couple of blank lines to the bottom and then copy everything that you have written in this mail. Now the plain text version, look for the little plain text link down here at the bottom, just a little over from the button where you will click to proceed. Just click on plain text here and paste in your message. Now we have the same situation going on here with this little recommended width area, except this time it is red on GetResponse instead of blue like it is with Aweber. So I'm just going to wrap the long lines once again, and this will make my email correctly formatted. Now another thing that I kind of like with GetResponse is this little preview right here. This shows you what your email would look like on a mobile phone. And this is, I believe, the exact shape and screen size of an iPhone here. So it can kind of give you an indication of, you know, what people are going to see if they're not on a computer, because trust me, a lot of people are checking their emails on their cell phones these days and not necessarily on a desktop or a laptop computer. So again, just double check this and make sure it looks okay. If there's something important like a link that you want people to click, a lot of times you want to make sure they don't have to scroll any further down. And you can even look at a sideways preview for it here. So with this particular setup here, they still would not have to scroll down to actually click on my link if they were viewing their phone sideways as well. So when I'm happy with my mail here, I can proceed on to the next step. Now this final step, I simply select the different lists that I want to send the email to. An autoresponder only goes out to one particular list because people are signing up on that list and you're sending them through that sequence. Well, when you create a newsletter mail, you could send it to just one list at a time, but you could also just write one mail and send it to all of your lists, as long as they are all something relational that you're doing. Now, you also have exclusions that you can make. Let's say, for example, let's say you have two lists that you have created off of one particular website, and maybe there's a little bit of a variation. Maybe one list is more interested in deals, and maybe the other list is more for informational, like a tutorial type of list. And you wanted to try to figure out which one was performing better than the other one. Well, let's say you were coming to send out a newsletter email, and maybe you had two different mails to send, and you wanted to send one to each of those lists. But in case somebody is signed up on both of the lists, you don't want them to get two emails to feel like you're bombarding them. Well, what you can do is select your first list for an email, send out that email, and then come back in, and let's say this is the second list that you have to send off. The next time around, you could select the second list, come down to exclude, choose the first list to remove those first people, and then it'll update your count right here and try to remove any of those people from that list that it was able to find. So then you're not bombarding those same people with two different emails all at the same time. So once you have something set up here, I'm not actually going to be sending out this particular email. Some of you might actually end up getting it if I did. But I want to show you the two different ways that you can send an email. You can immediately send it by clicking on Send Now right here. But then you can also send it with a schedule to where, let's say, you know that you have a new post that is going to be published on your site tomorrow morning, but you want to promote that particular product post on your site when it is released, but maybe you're not going to be here tomorrow. Maybe you're working today and you're planning on taking tomorrow off. You can set up the mail to go out after that post has gone live on your site by simply specifying a date and a time right here. Just drag your little hour and minute things here, and you can set any time and any date that you want to. And you can even specify the time zone. Now, one of the cool things about GetResponse is that if you're not necessarily trying to get this email to go out all to everybody on your list all at the same time, if you're more interested in getting the people to open the email, something that you can do is to use the time travel option. And this, just like it says here, will deliver the email at the recipient's local time instead of this delivery date and time that you are specifying here. So now if you're turning this on, it will still try to send it at this time, but it's going to not look at your time, but it's going to look at the recipient's time. And so it'll try to send it to people on the East Coast of the USA exactly at 8:04 p.m. And then an hour later, it'll send it to people in Brazil. And a few hours after that, it'll start sending it out to Europe. But at their local times, it will always be this time here that it says. And it'll show you how many different people you have in those various time zones. Now, depending on when you set up your time, some of these emails would go out immediately, and some of them would actually get scheduled appropriately. It's actually 8:30 right now, whereas I have this set up for right now to be sent out 26 minutes ago. So it obviously can't do that for everybody here in the US. The people that are over here, it could, but the people on the East Coast and everybody this way, it would have to send that email immediately. However, if I was scheduling this for a couple days in advance, let's say I set this to the 22nd at 8 p.m., then it could make everything get sent out exactly at this date and time for everybody's local time instead of my time zone. So this is kind of a cool feature to use and can often help to increase the number of people that will open your emails. Now I often get asked, when do I like to send emails? What are the best times? You know, if I'm trying to drive people to an offer all at one time, what time do I pick here? Most of my favorite times are 6 o'clock in the morning. This is all Eastern Standard Time. So this is the GMT -4 America, New York Eastern time zone here for East Coast of the USA. 6 a.m., 10 a.m. is also a decent time, but in the marketing community, I actually avoid 10 a.m. like the plague, because that's when everybody's running their marketing launches. They're all at 10 or 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I like to mail before that if I can, or potentially after that to avoid that rush so you're not trying to compete with everybody else out there. Another preferred time that I like is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It hits a lot of the evening people that are in the United States, and the 7 p.m. and the 6 a.m. times are also times designed to not only target people in the USA, but it also helps to target people in other countries, like when Europe is waking up or right before they go to sleep, for example. So always consider who your target audience is. Most of the time, not everybody, but I think a majority of people, if you had to say what's the one most likely time that people are going to open their email, I would tell you weekdays while they're at work. People love to do anything they can but what they're supposed to do at work. So they'll be checking their emails, and they do it during the morning time pretty often, which is why you have marketing launches at 10 and 11 a.m. And that's why I send out my mails at 6 a.m. a lot of the times. You're catching different parts of the world when you're sending them like that, and you're also helping to make sure that your mail is somewhere near the top of the email inbox when people actually go to check their mail, because you're a lot more likely to get opened that way. So those are my preferences for my timing there. Now, your newsletter mails, you know, use those at your own discrepancy. I would typically tell you to not send out something every day, but you also don't want to leave people for months without some kind of contact with them. At the very, very least, once a month make contact, but I would still recommend more frequent than that if you can possibly swing it. Once every 2 weeks is probably a minimum that I would recommend for most people, and that keeps you fresh in the minds of your readers. Now, on the other side, you know, you don't want to bombard them. Don't be mailing them multiple times a day unless, you know, something on a rare occasion you can get away with doing things like that. But if you're doing it all the time, you will run people away. But you will still have people that stay no matter how frequent or infrequent you mail. It just, you'll simply condition people to whatever it is that you're doing. So if you're only mailing once a month and all of a sudden you start bombing them every single day, you're going to get a lot of people that leave your list. However, if you want to be mailing them every single day and you do that from the get-go, people will decide right away whether they want to be on your list or not. And so everybody else, they'll stay on your list and they will accept the daily emails. Now, with all of this set up, the only thing that you really have left to do is to start driving traffic to your custom sign-up pages. So then you can start to build your leads. Well, I want to talk to you guys about a couple of different methods that you can use to help you build these leads. Now, the first that I want to discuss with you is Facebook advertising. I want to talk about Facebook advertising to be able to demonstrate one specific strategy. And this is a strategy that can come in handy no matter what kind of website you do. You've probably heard of Facebook retargeting. In case you don't know what this is, what's going on is whenever you have a website, you can track the people that go to that website. And by track, what I'm talking about is you're figuring out what Facebook users are visiting your website, and you're building them into a custom audience. Now, I've previously taught about custom audiences, where you build a list of Facebook user IDs from scraping a Facebook group, for example. Now, with retargeting, you don't have to go out and scrape anything. You're just building that custom audience from people that view your website. So then you can go back to Facebook and send them advertisements. You can try to get them to sign up for your list. You can, hit them multiple times on a particular offer instead of once, because a lot of times when people see things over and over again, they're more likely to start to pay some attention to it. Yeah, retargeting pretty is uncanny. It does happen pretty fast. You can build up a custom audience in a fairly short period of time with it in a lot of cases. So I want to demonstrate this to you tonight and show you how this works and show you how you can put it into action on your own site. So go into the Facebook ad system and click the little drop down arrow over here and just go to Manage Ads and go over here to the sidebar and click on Audiences. Now these audiences, these are your custom audiences that you have created. Now I just created this at 7 p.m. yesterday, so a little bit more than 24 hours ago I created this, and there's already 40 people in this custom audience, and Facebook does not update this number automatically, so this is likely a number from even less than 24 hours worth of traffic. So now all of these people that have visited my Carbon Fanatic site, I can promote to them with a Facebook ad if I want to. Now, I had mentioned it being pretty fast before, and Linda mentioned that as well. This is another list I built. Granted, this is off of a actual launch and not, more of an affiliate type of website here, like what we're building. But just to show you the potential with it, this is only a 16-day-old custom audience, and there's 5,400 people in it already. Every single one of these people likely clicked on some kind of a promotional email link sent out by a marketer and went and visited a website of mine. And now I can promote back to these people on Facebook. The only drawback to this system is that it doesn't last forever. It's only going to look at your recent traffic. This is set up to look at the last 180 days. I'm going to create a new one here just so I can show you how this works. Click on Create Audience up in the corner, And then here, instead of doing a data file like what we've done before with our list of user IDs, we're using the bottom option now, custom audience from your website. Just click on here, and this is the amount of time that is being saved for, and the max amount of time you can put in is 180 days. So unless you want to only keep the recent people on there to try to maybe promote a little more aggressively to the most recent people, you could keep a custom audience at 30 days, but in most cases, I say go ahead and stretch it to 180 days so you can build that list as large as it can possibly be at any given point in time. Now, the other main thing you need to worry about up here is simply giving it a name. The name is for your own reference, so you can see it in this list over here, so you can also notice it when you're creating an ad and refer back to this custom audience for your targeting. So I'll just go ahead and call this one Carbon Fanatic 2. You don't need a description. This is completely optional. But what you do need to worry about is this custom pixel right here. This gives you some code, and you need to copy this code. And we're going to go and install this code here in just a moment. So now that we have this code and we've set the number of days and we have set a name for it, we're just going to click on Create. So now it says, thank you for creating a custom audience. Your audience is ready. Well, up here it says it's not ready. The audience is too small. We need 20 people in the audience before we can actually use it to promote an advertisement. So to get people on this audience, we have to take that code that I just copied and install it on the website. Now again, I've already done this for this other custom audience that I just started yesterday, but I'm still going to go through this process here so you can see exactly how this works. So go to Appearance and then go to Weaver 2 Admin. Now from here, go to Advanced Options and then to Head section and scroll down to the Head section of settings here. Look for this text box and then simply paste in that tracking pixel right here into this box. So then you can save your settings. Now, actually removed this a little bit earlier so I could show you that and not have two of them on there. So my 40 people there that were being tracked on Facebook really came from a pretty short period of time. So whether you're planning on using Facebook advertising right now or not, I highly, highly recommend for you to go ahead and set this up so you can start building this custom audience. And then, you know, maybe a month or two down the road when you start making something from the site and you can put a little bit of advertising money in, then boom, you automatically have a list of potentially hundreds or thousands of people that have been visiting your website over the last couple months. And who better than to try to target than those people? So now, the next thing that I would like to show you guys involves Facebook fan pages. And this is specifically something that is only for GetResponse. Now, I need to cancel this particular message and exit out of here so I do not inadvertently send that out. What I want to do now is to go to my web forms list here. And I want to edit a web form for the list that I'm creating. Now, over on the Publish page, you have this Publish on Facebook fan page application button here. This is something I had mentioned in the previous class and said that I would demonstrate it here. Now, just because I'm demonstrating this here does not necessarily mean you should use it. And I'll show you why in just a moment. Now this is a slightly complicated process, first of all. You click on this, it's going to take you over to Facebook to verify your permissions, and you add this to a fan page. Well, I've already verified my permissions, so it just takes me straight to adding it to a fan page. So then all I have to do is select a page here, but actually looks like it will not let me even choose my same page again. So this is not something that I could demonstrate 2 times. However, I want to jump over to my fan page here so I can show you what this looks like. As soon as I would have selected my fan page on that previous step and added it to it, it would put this on my fan page. This is a page tab, and it has a little sign up label. When you click on this link the first time after it is created, it's not going to automatically show you a sign up form. It's going to show you a little box asking you for your API key. Now, again, this is not something that I can actually show you, but I've done the best that I can do in the guidebook in terms of showing you the actual page. But if you just go to My Account and Account Details, and then you go to this Get Response API page, it will have your API key on that page that you can then enter into this sign-up page on Facebook. And this will connect up your Facebook page here with your Get Response account, and then it's going to ask you for a little bit of information to set up the actual form. Now again, I include some information on that in the guidebook if you would like to see how it works. Ultimately though, you can't use full HTML and CSS coding in this sign-up form, so I really don't like to use it because you can't completely customize it. So just to show you what this looks like, here's the page where you are setting this up. Now if anybody else visits this page, they'll see my sign-up form. But for me, I see the page where I select my campaign, I select my sign-up form, and I create my message. But then what it's actually going to look like is this. It's a basic sign-up form, and you really don't have much in the way of options of making this text look good. You really can't even add a custom image to this page. So for that reason, I would highly recommend not using this particular system. I'm already off the page now, where you add in the application to your Facebook fan page. If you would like to add it to your fan page as a page tab, go through my earlier Facebook training where I actually show you how to create a Facebook page tab and use that page tab to create a custom sign-up form that actually can be styled up. So you guys have the tools to be able to do something like this, but to make it look nice instead. And I would highly recommend to do that instead of using this, even though it may be a little bit easier to do it this way. It's not going to help to bring you a lot of leads. Now the last method that I wanted to talk to you about to drive leads into your sign-up form is an on-site method. Now you can do the simple things like you could add in a menu link that says, you know, get carbon fiber deals or something like that. You could add in a sidebar link that would also point to that standalone custom sign-up page that we've created to try to get people to sign up for it. But another thing that you can do to show you something a little bit more complicated, because obviously I know you guys can figure out how to add a link to that page that you created on your end, I wanted to show you something a little bit different here, and that is to use an exit pop-up. Now, you have to be careful if you decide to use this tactic, because it can annoy some people. I've never been a big fan of the tactic itself. It annoys me when I am on a website and I see this type of thing. The bottom line is the reason why so many other people are using it and they still use it is because it works, unfortunately. People that are going to leave your site, you can sometimes stop a percentage of them from leaving your site and convert them into sales or newsletter leads. To put this into action, you're going to need to go into your WordPress site here and install two different plugins. I think I may already have one of these. No, I don't have either of them installed on this site. I am not quite ready to set this up on this particular site yet. So I will not actually be proceeding through this entire tutorial in terms of creating all this, but I can show you exactly how all this works still without actually doing that. So first, you need a plugin called Exit Screen Plugin. Install this plugin, and then over in the sidebar, you're going to want to go to Settings, and then you'll have an Exit Screen page here. On that page, you really need to only do two things. You need to specify a URL that you want it to show as your exit pop-up when people try to leave your page, and then you need to specify a message. Now, I've provided that information in the guidebook. The message is not really important. It doesn't even show up on all browsers. I just say to say something like, wait, click stay on page to take a look at some great deals on carbon fiber vinyl. The URL that I will be providing could be one of two things. It could be simply my existing page that I have already created for the deals. This page right here, carbon fiber deals. I could just point people to this page and make this my exit pop-up. But I could also create a very, very similar page to this and slightly modify it, and also potentially add some tracking code onto it so I can tell where I'm getting the signups from. So I know if they're coming from this standalone page that maybe I'm promoting with an advertisement on Facebook. But then I also want to know how many people I'm getting through this exit pop-up so I can see, which one's really working out for me and should I continue to use these methods on this particular site. So something that you can do is to create a wait page. Just add a new page. I typically just title it wait. And this page is actually going to be identical to this deal's sign up page that you have done, with a couple of minor exceptions. At the beginning of my text here, I just added the word wait, and then I added a line break in here. Everything else is the same. Now, if I wanted different tracking code, yes, this is like the Down Comforter page, similar to it at least, except instead of directing people straight to the deals page as the exit pop-up, I'm directing them to a lead sign-up page, and then they will get to the deals page. So I will be collecting leads with this particular method and also sending people to that deals page too. So if you wanted to set up some particular tracking code, go through and generate your code. I'm going to show you guys the tracking information as far as generating your sign-up forms here in just a few minutes after I get past this part. And then, go through the template generator that I've provided with the last class to make almost your entire page here. That's everything from here down. That's everything that was printed out by my template generator. Well, the only thing I customized was I added the extra text, the wait, and the line break here, and then I have added this extra coding to the top. Now, to be able to use this coding right here, you need one other plugin, and that is called Exec PHP. This allows you to execute PHP code within your content. So by installing this plugin here, I have my weight page. This PHP code would now go into effect. And ultimately what this is doing is having to do with that exit pop-up. Think about this. When you go to a page on your site and you close it and it tries to give you the exit pop-up, the same thing can happen to you on the exit pop-up page because it is also a page on your site. Unfortunately, that plugin that I was telling you to install, it's a good plugin in terms of doing what it's supposed to do for the exit pop-up. It's not very good though in terms of avoiding a looping situation. So that's what this code is for. Any page on your site that you do not want the exit pop-up appearing from when people try to close that page, you need to add this code onto it. So this would be any of your newsletter sign-up pages, for example. This page here, this could potentially be a page where I'm paying advertising to send people to this page to get them to sign up. You know, I might put this on a Facebook ad and target my custom audience with it. You absolutely do not want, when people try to close this page, for it to open another page almost identical to it that still tries to get them to sign up for the newsletter. Number one, that's going to be really annoying, and it's a loop that they'll never be able to break out of. But on top of that, Facebook will not allow you to advertise a page that has an exit pop-up on it. So anytime you want to advertise any page on your site, if you are using the exit pop-up, make sure you have this code on that particular page, or else Facebook is not going to approve your advertisement. So now, this page here, again, it's basically the same thing, except all I have is a little bit of extra text up there. Wait, want carbon fiber deals. And then we try to get the person to sign up. Now again, you could try to customize this and change it around a little bit, make it slightly different from this page, and, you know, use these two different methods and see what works out better for you. But in terms of helping you to build newsletter subscribers without really taking a lot of effort on your part and also without costing you money, this exit pop-up page is really one of the best ways to go. This will build leads for you on autopilot, and it'll do it just off of the traffic that's coming to your site. And then if you want to, you can do other tactics like run a Facebook ad to your custom audience. Now you can even get more complicated with things and create a custom audience, a second custom audience for people that have actually signed up for your newsletter, and then essentially exclude those people from your advertisements. But ultimately, you know, that probably will not be a large majority of your custom audience. And so I didn't want to try to horribly confuse you there with going into even more details like that. But that is a possibility if that is something you would like to try to play around with in the future. I have a little bit of time left here, and one more thing that I need to show you. So it looks like we will be ending okay here. The last thing that I want to show you has to do with tracking, like I was talking to you about before. Now this is kind of a two-part thing. I already have a sign-up form here that I have not started using yet. I'm going to edit this sign-up form. Now this can be done on both Aweber and on GetResponse. Go to your settings. It works the same on GetResponse, and you have some advanced settings down here. This ad tracking allows you to figure out what subscribers are on your list and where they came from, if you would like to worry about tracking it. So for example, I could create this weight page, and for my tracking here, I could just say Carbon Fanatic weight. So then I generate my code, I go to my template generator, and I generate my final code there, and that is the code that I would then use to put into this page. So it would have this tracking information in it. Well, then my other sign-up form, it could still bring people into the same exact list, but maybe it's using a slightly different variation of this sign-up page. Or maybe the people are being signed up from a different location. Maybe I'm paying Facebook to bring in people that sign up through here. And maybe long-term I want to figure out, which one's better? Who do I really retain these subscribers from? Maybe even who's buying things from me. You can differentiate that by this tracking information. And again, you can even segment your list based on this tracking information. So I could then send out a newsletter email to only the people on my list that signed up through the weight page. And then I could send another email to the people that signed up to my list through the Facebook ad, for example. So again, you can do the same thing on GetResponse. You can simply edit one of these forms here, go to your settings, and then down at the bottom you have a Show Advanced link. And all the way at the bottom here we have this Track Web Form Users. And this allows us to do the same thing that we were doing over here with this ad tracking. Now there is also an extra option here, but this is really for more advanced purposes, and most likely you won't have a need for this anytime soon, but I still thought I would at least briefly mention it. You can create your sign-up forms using whatever fields you want to. The email address being the most basic field here that you have to use. Well, you could use things like name. You could use things like, person's country or address or something like that, although, there's really not a lot of need to request that kind of stuff. But one thing that it is commonly used for extra fields is to track affiliates. If I had an offer going on and affiliates were promoting it, and I wanted to have an exit pop-up that then accumulated leads for me, but maybe I still wanted to be able to give the affiliate credit for that sale, you can put in a custom field of an affiliate ID here, and then you can actually use that field here for your tracking, and even segment your list and send emails to different portions of that to give them a different affiliate link, for example. There's a number of different ways that you can really go about using these tracking systems that are available. Now again, it's not something that's required, but if you are doing a couple different methods of trying to bring in your leads and you want to know which one's really effective, and this becomes more important when you start to pay for some of those leads. You really need to know, if it's worth paying for them or not. Another way that you can go about tracking people, if you are doing Facebook advertisements, if you go through and you're creating an ad on Facebook, and let's say you're trying to get people to sign up for your deals page here. So you want to use this page as your destination. So we could do clicks to website. We could also do website conversions. Website conversions gives us an extra option. And that extra option is right here. This is a conversion tracking pixel. What I can do is click on the plus button here to create a new tracking pixel. I choose a category, And there's different things here: checkouts, registrations, leads. So whatever it is that is important to me, whatever I am advertising for, my goal is what I select here. So I'm trying to get leads now. So then I give it a name. So I could call this Carbon Fanatic leads. And then I click on Create Pixel. Now, there's a little warning here. I have to verify this pixel first. So I need to click on I can add the pixel to my website. So I click this right here, and it expands to show me a bunch of code. So now I can copy this code, and I will click on Continue right here. Now, if you miss the code, you need to go back, and it's giving you this refresh or verify now. You can click on Verify Now, and it gives you access to the same code right here. And then once you have it in place on your site, refreshing right here will make this little warning go away, and this will turn into a green circle. So what you need to do with this tracking code is to take it and put it into your website, but I want to point out something about this particular code. What you need to do is look at what it is that you're promoting. So I'm promoting carbon fiber deals. So I go to this page. Whatever the goal is of this page. So I want people to sign up through this newsletter and to proceed on what? To my delivery page. So the delivery page is my ultimate goal. So that's what I'm really looking for. My deals page, the deals thank you page that I have set up for my delivery. So I go to this deals page, the goal of my sign up, and I edit it. I scroll all the way to the bottom till I get to the custom fields, and now I want to create a new custom field. This is going to be page head code. I've demonstrated this before, except this time I'm using it for my conversion tracking pixel. But before you save it, expand this out just a little bit so you can look at the actual code here. Towards the beginning, Facebook parameter value is equal to 0.01. And if I look all the way down at the bottom, it's down here again. Value is equal to 0.01. This is a lead conversion value. If I want Facebook to track not only the number of leads, but what those leads are actually worth to me, I have to tell Facebook what they're worth. Now, when you're first starting out, you're not going to know this. After a while, though, you get enough people on your newsletter, you might be able to figure out over the course of a couple of months or a year or something how much one lead being on your newsletter brings you in terms of affiliate commissions or earnings, actual cash in your pocket. And you can divide that out and figure out what a lead is worth to you. And then you can know exactly how much you can afford to spend on a lead and still make it profitable for you. There's not a order you need to worry about inserting these codes, Peter. Ultimately, it won't make a difference. So if I figured out down the road, maybe a lead was worth $5 to me, I could just change this right here to $5. And down here, I could also change this to $5. Now, maybe you had different pages on your site that, if you sold your own product, a lead might be worth one thing, but then maybe they go on and complete a sale. That sale might be worth a total another value to assign to it. You can add this code to multiple pages, this same conversion code, and just modify the value of it each time. And it will help you to track all that stuff here in Facebook so you can figure out what your leads are actually costing you. This is a website conversion advertisement that I was running for my recent launch, and this was also coming directly from a custom audience that I was building off my website. So I was actually using the Facebook retargeting and that custom audience of 5,400 people to promote these different advertisements to. And they actually converted really, really well. Just a basic sale, all of these conversions, these are all sales. And I was only assigning a conversion value of $2 per sale, because ultimately if I had an affiliate refer the sale, that's about what a sale was worth to me. It was about $2. So I wanted to make sure, since I was not using an affiliate link with these things, I wanted to make sure the conversions were not costing me more than $2 per conversion. So anything that was not performing well, like this one here, this one started not performing too good at 374, so I just simply cut it off. Whereas the ones that were going really, really well, I might let them run quite a long time. I had 146 conversions on this particular advertisement alone, and I only paid $1.06 per conversion. So I spent $156, but just the direct sales off of those people brought me $292 at a bare minimum. And that's assuming that there was an affiliate attached to every single one of those sales, and also assuming that they didn't buy any of my upsells too, because I didn't bother tracking that. I was just trying to track my basic entry point here. The bottom line though is that this Facebook retargeting system, it really, really works. People are used to seeing your site, and if you can hit them back up with an advertisement relating to whatever it is that they were viewing on your site that you know for a fact that they were viewing, you make that connection there, and you can put some things in your ad that people wouldn't expect to see in an advertisement. You can mention exactly what they were just viewing on your page, because you can get a little more complicated with this system with your custom audiences here, and you could actually create a custom audience for specific pages on your site. So they were looking at this particular page on your site, and they were doing it within the last month, and you can create highly, highly targeted ads to go after different kinds of situations like that. Or you can still do it as your whole website in general. It just kind of depends on how much traffic you have to work with. When you're just getting started out, it's probably not worth trying to split up an audience for each of the various pages that you have.